everybody, and welcome back to the Football Fignuts podcast. If you're keeping track at home, this is Season 5, Episode 7. And if you've been keeping track since the beginning, this is episode number 201, and my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
Craig, we finish up the Roundtable series tonight. I am so excited to be welcoming our contributors back. Let's go ahead and start introducing them. First off, he's appeared on more of the episodes of this podcast than any of our contributors. Please welcome the Cinch.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here as always.
Always great to have you on. You bring such great insight to our podcast. And speaking of great insight, we couldn't get another guest that had great insight, so we brought in Sean. Sean, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I have insights.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna out him right now because we've got the cameras on as we're recording this. Sean is literally flipping through a magazine. Hold that up for the camera. What are you flipping through?
It's a fantasy football magazine.
Okay, so I did not know they still made those.
They do.
I saw them in the store the other day.
I like to do it for nostalgia. I get them very early when they first come out, and I just kind of peek through it, look
before
at it.
Anyone's hurt or traded.
No way. Yeah. No way do I use them for my draft. I might use the cheat sheets to mark off players. That's about it when I use the magazine.
That is, I've brought my laptop, my laptop before, or try to use my phone, and it is a little hard to keep track of. It's quicker to write things down, or cross off names, so.
I print out a cheat sheet still, but all right. So how many magazines have you bought, Sean? Let's start there before we even get to the beers.
2.
He's holding up a 2. Okay, Cinch, how many physical magazines have you bought in preparation for your draft?
I have not bought a magazine for a draft in about 5-6 years.
Okay.
All online.
Craig, how many physical magazines have you bought this year?
That would be 0.
Okay, so 0. So between the 4 of us, we've purchased a total of 2 magazines, and they're both sitting on Sean's couch.
Yes.
So, okay.
I'm sorry. I just love the nostalgia, man.
He loves the feel of it.
I get it.
I have it in my head now that he goes into a bookstore in March, before the draft even happens, and is picks them up and just opens them and shoves his face in them and takes a deep breath through the nostrils just to smell the paper.
It's a good smell. Well, bookstore anyway. But yeah, go on.
I've got a sidetrack before we even got to the interesting part. Guys, you know what time it is? It's time to open a beer. Let's start with Sean because I see him cracking one open. Sean, what are you drinking tonight?
I just got back from North Carolina. I had a bunch of different beers down there. I actually am drinking something that I already had. It's a big day off from back east, from Connecticut. However, that is because I have a little surprise for you, gentlemen.
Oh.
I have brought back 4 beers for each of you.
What?
From different breweries in North Carolina.
I was just going to say, how do you go all the way down there and not come back with something?
Because I drank plenty of them down there.
That's fair.
I came back stuff for you guys.
That's
Thank
fair.
you.
Well, thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you now. So, Cinch, what are you drinking tonight?
Let's forget the podcast and go find Sean.
Yeah, let's just go have a drink.
Yeah,
we want to do a best ball league
people.
anyway. We got to get together and do a best ball league anyway, so we might as well. Cinch, what do you got? Oh, he's cracking it open. Oh, I know what that can is.
I just opened A Quiet Life.
Nice.
Fox Farm.
Yeah, that was Christy liked that one. I think Craig had that one as well. Did you try the Quiet Life, Craig?
Yeah, that one was good. I enjoyed I picked out the lighter Fox Farm stuff. I enjoyed all of them.
And so that brings us to you, Craig. What are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking. Oh, if I can open the can. It's from this random brewery that no one's heard of called Northway. It's Avenue of the Pines. It's called.
Oh.
So I'm drinking it in your honor.
I don't think Cinch and Sean know this, but about a week ago, Craig's wife and our producer Laura went to had a friend that went up to Lake George, and while she was there, Laura was like, "If you bring me back a couple avenues of the Pines, I won't mind." I think we've lost Sean for sound.
Uh-oh.
He's shaking his head. I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he can hear us. We might have lost Sean, but we'll figure it out. So, okay, Avenue of the Pines. That's obviously a Brit fave. Tonight, while Sean tries to get his audio working, I am drinking a brand new beer. And when I say brand new, I mean it hit today.
Oh,
at least
really?
according to Instagram, it hit today. I am drinking Strange Horizons.
Oh yes,
by
love the
Two
can
Roads
art.
Brewing. It's made in tribute to the band Greta Van Fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to be playing locally. So I believe they use some of album art there. But it's a hazy IPA dedicated to her. I've not tasted this yet, so I am literally going to taste this
And
for the first time right now.
This is special for me because Britt has his camera on, so I can see him. So this is like we're in the studio again, because I love watching Britt taste new beers.
Yeah, I make a lot of faces, so here we go. I'm gonna mute my mic, and Craig can talk you through the facial expressions. Yep. Sean, can you hear us? No, Sean can't hear us.
All right, Sean, leave and connect again.
Sean, yeah, I think that's what he's trying to do. Okay, let's try this. Here we go.
All right. Britt meters mic. He's taking a swig. He's swishing it around, and now he's in deep thought with his new glasses. Oh, he blinked. He looks interested and slightly confused at what he tastes.
Okay, that is really freaking good. It's definitely a hazy IPA, but it's not juicy hazy. Like you can even see. I'll hold it up for the camera. You guys will be able to see. It's not like very thick.
That's pretty.
There's
light.
Decent light penetration on it. Like, and I don't even have really good light on this. But I mean, oh god, that's not good. That didn't help. But you can see that it light gets through there.
Yeah.
Cinch's beer is actually darker than mine. But it's got a really nice flavor to it. There's no tropical to it at all, but it's got a really...
Does it say what hops are in it?
You know, I didn't read the can.
Let's find out.
I gotta...
If they're there.
So Craig mentioned my new glasses. I'm old now, so I'm wearing transition lenses. So if you see me go like this, it's because I'm trying to get used to the fact that up here allows me to see far away, and down here allows me to read.
Oh.
So Two Roads believes in the satisfying reward of exploring new and alternative pathways rather than following the mainstream in all aspects of life and beer. And we support beer drinkers who feel the same way. Take the road less traveled is our credo, and making the most interesting and delicious beers is our business. Well, that told me nothing. Thanks.
That really didn't.
Thanks for the ad. Hashtag sponsor us. You're welcome, Two Roads.
Britt, those are bifocals?
These are
okay.
Yep, transition. Transitions are bifocals without like the bifocal box. So like there's no line in here. Like if you were holding these in front of you, you would not be able to tell which part is for reading and which part isn't. But yes, it's essentially bifocals without the line. My brain is having a terrible time with this adjustment. Absolutely horrendous. Beyond the fact that the frames I chose made me look like a fat Elvis Costello. Beyond that, they're just, my eyes are completely confused as to what the hell's going on. Because normally I'll just, where my head is, okay, I'll look at stuff down out of that corner. No, I can't do that for stuff that's so far away now. So anyway, nobody cares about my glasses. I'm trying to kill time because we've lost Sean.
Did he leave and connect again?
I see him.
I'm here.
I can hear him. Okay, great. We can stop talking about my glasses. Hopefully Craig can edit that out. All right, moving on. So we're all drinking beer. I don't know. Sean, did you see what I'm drinking?
I did not.
It's a brand new Two Roads beer called Strange Horizons.
Oh.
And it's good. All right, moving on. Burning hot takes. I'm going to yield to our contributors first. Which one of you gentlemen has a burning question you want to ask the group? This is our draft strategy episode, by the way, so I'm expecting it's going to be something about either draft or seasonal prep, something about getting ready for the season.
So how do you like to prepare for...
Okay, I'll go. Yep. Hear me.
Okay, so Sean started, and then Cinch started, so we might have a little bit of an audio delay that we're going to have to work through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, and I'm not going to leave things in the air anymore, so let's start with Cinch. Cinch, what do you like to do to get ready for the draft, or what question would you like to ask us about?
Well, first off, I can't see or hear Sean, so we'll have to work through that.
All right, I'll make sure I prompt folks to keep this moving. We're doing it live, folks.
The question I was going to ask is, locked in your expert prediction printout stick? Because there will always be a player that you pass that the experts have high. So how far down will you wait before you draft that guy that you really didn't want to draft? The expert has him high.
So you're saying I got a draft cheat sheet in front of me, and the expert's got we're just gonna toss a name out there, like I don't know, Ronald Jones. So some experts have Ronald Jones high. There's one guy on this call who has Ronald Jones, at running back 0. That's how high he has him. He has him above running back 1. So how long do I wait? For me personally, it's going to depend on what else goes. That decision to me comes down to when I see the next name on the list and I'm like, no way, I just can't. So it's situational for me. The famous one for me, to along Cinch's point, is Mike Evans. Every year, I look at wide receiver, and Mike Evans is sitting there, and I go, I'm not taking Mike Evans. And 2 rounds later, the question is Mike Evans or Robbie Anderson, and now all of a sudden Mike Evans looks pretty good. So that's where I do it based on situational. Sean, Sean is reacting violently on the video. Sean, what do you got?
Don't you have Mike Evans in the Scott Fish Bowl?
I do.
And he was very upset about it at the time.
Oh my God, I threw a chair. But yes. All right, so Sean, how long do you wait? Is there a prescribed time or is it situational for you?
Definitely situational. I mean, it's obviously based on what I have already, based on where my tiers, like, if I have a tier of like these guys and that guy, even though he's ranked higher, I'm putting air quotes up, I'll take the other guys first before taking them. I hear, a great thing on some stations that I hear is don't be fooled and be happy when you get a grade from a draft, after your draft, that the computer says, hey, you got an A.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That you're probably not going to win your league.
That means you were as close to their projections as you could have been.
Yeah, you got to be able to get away from, okay, I'll take the next guy on the ADP, because that's not going to work for you.
Greg, what do you think about this?
I'm along the same lines as you. It's very situational. Like, if it's hypothetical rounds and whatever, like if it's the 10th round and I need a quarterback and someone's telling me to draft Dak, like, I don't know if I'd even take him. I would think about it at that point, but yeah, it's same with you. It has to be really situational. I'd have to see who like the next 2 or 3 people were behind him and kind of go from there.
Cinch, what about you? When do you start to question your debating with the experts?
There are certain players, forget it, I'm not drafting. I have a Texan on my team this year, no matter what. Mike Evans is a good one because it would take him dropping before I draft him.
Drafting how far? Because I'll tell you right now where we took him. In the Scott Fish Bowl, we took him at the end of round 5.
Okay, I was thinking 7 or 8.
Yeah,
so
Scott Fish Bowl is a weird draft, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know if we can use that as an example.
So wait a minute. Let me just give you the 3 wide receivers that went, because 3 wide receivers went before him. These 3 guys went before him in our draft. DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, and Terry McLaurin.
Those were the ones just before. Okay.
Just before. The next wide receiver taken was Amari Cooper, and I was not having any part of Amari Cooper because Craig would disown me.
And here's the big thing.
Too much of an injury risk. He's hurt already.
And his quarterback. Same thing. Sean, what do you got?
He's in that tier. So, again, if he's the last guy on that tier and you're like, do I want to drop down to that tier that I already ranked and grab the other guy because I really don't like him or think he has stone hands? Hey, I don't know if I can even do it then. But because I ranked him with that tier for a reason.
Since you were about to say something and I cut you off, please finish your thought.
I forgot already.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Moving on. Sean, burning hot take. Question you want to ask the group about draft strategy or draft prep or season prep?
Well, I kind of was referring to it as how do you prepare for it? Do you just do a lot of mock drafts? Do you do research? Do you I like I said, I'd like to take lots of other expert opinions, make my own rankings and then my own tiers. and then obviously do a lot of mock drafts. So that's where I like to go. Where do you guys like to go with your draft preparation?
Let's start with Cinch on that. Cinch, how do you prepare for the draft? Where do you like to go, and what do you like to do?
I listen to a million podcasts, and no one is an expert. Because when it comes to my draft picks, I'm the only expert that matters. So I don't care. I listen to what everyone says, but I don't care what anyone says. So several different sites, and since we are all drafting together, I'm not telling you.
Exactly.
So
exactly. I'll tell everybody easily. I listen to a lot of Sirius XM fantasy sports radio, but it's essentially the same thing as Cinch just said. Every 2 hours, it's a different analyst from a different site every day of the week. So I'm going to hear Fantasy Pros. I'm going to hear Fantasy Points. I'm going to hear Fantasy Guru. I'm going to hear all these different experts. And you can literally, in a 10-minute span, hear, I'm just going to pick on Mike Evans because I have him on my screen right now. Mark Evans is the most underrated receiver in the entire league. He's obviously the top 3 receiver. And then 10 minutes later, they take a news break, and a new guy comes on and goes, Mike Evans downgraded on my board. He's a wide receiver 2 at best. And you're like, okay, ultimately, you have to decide for yourself. That's fair. But that's what I really do. That and a lot of this prep. A lot of reading what you guys write and putting together this stuff is a lot of what I do. Craig, how do you prepare?
Same kind of thing, kind of a mix of everyone. So I start, doing the podcast definitely helps you because, you have to kind of pay attention, especially when around when the draft starts. So there's that. I wind up paying attention.
Get paid for this.
I know. I wound up paying attention to, things like coaching changes, like staff changes, those make a huge difference on teams. I don't really, I haven't bought a magazine like Sean in a long time. So there's that. And then, you have, and I'm not saying people should go crazy and check 15 different websites and 30 different podcasts because, you're going to get overwhelmed with info. So I would say pick I don't know, 5 of each, maybe, let's say, hypothetically, just, 5 of each and just stay with those. Because once you start listening to 30 different people's input, you're going to have no direction. On how you want to go.
At the end of the day, making your fantasy selection should be essentially what Walt Whitman told us about 100 years ago, which was when you're trying to decide on something, take in all the information and dismiss what offends the soul. Literally, that's the quote. Take it all in and dismiss what offends the soul. That's it. He was talking about religion when he said that, by the way, but it applies in fantasy football because some people treat fantasy football as religion too. So take it all in. If you want to believe that Le'Veon Bell is going to sign somewhere and be a reasonable draft pick, by all means. Is Le'Veon Bell in camp right now? I don't have him as camp, right?
I don't know.
I'm looking at the Scott
Haven't heard
Fish
him
Bowl.
being anywhere.
I'm looking at the Scott Fish Bowl. He was drafted number 259. Someone believed he'd be signed.
Or will be. Yep.
Exactly. Craig, burning hot take for the group. What do you got? Okay, Sean, you need to stop. You're giving me vertigo. He's moving around and his camera angle's changing. At one point, he was on the ceiling like Lionel Richie in the 80s. Sit still. Sit and stay. Craig.
For me...
This is why we can't do a live video, guys. This is why everybody's like, let's do a live thing on YouTube or Twitch. This is why we can't do it. Back to Craig.
For me, are there any, I don't know how to word this question. Are there so we kind of think, people think teams like the Texans and teams like the Jaguars are not going to be what you would call good this year. Teams like that, do you still take a risk on drafting someone from those teams, or do you just avoid them altogether?
Ooh, okay. Bad teams, are they still fantasy viable? Let's start with Cinch on that.
No way, no how.
No way, no
we'll
how.
Have no Texans. No Texans. A funny team that I don't think will have a lot of wins, Craig, is the Bengals. Bengals are loaded with fantasy players.
True.
So I guess, in my opinion, those guys are going to lean towards being a bust. They're not going to win games.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, Sean, are bad teams still fantasy viable?
Yes, there are definitely players on teams that are bad that are fantasy viable. For instance, I'm sure everyone is rushing to go get James Robinson now, since Etienne is out. I think he'll be fantasy viable. I think usually Detroit line. Well, it depends on the situation too. Like the Houston Texans, there's a lot of people that aren't viable, But usually on a bad team, wide receivers are viable. So the number one wide receiver on a bad team is gonna see a lot of action since they got to pass a lot, to catch up usually.
So I want to rephrase this. I want to kind of restructure this question a little bit because we keep bringing up the Texans. So it's important to note that the AFC South, the Texans were only the third worst team. The Jaguars only won one game last year. So let me kind of rephrase it like this. Is there a Texan or a Jaguar you're willing to draft? I want to go back to Cinch really quick. It can be a very simple answer. Is there a Texan or a Jaguar you would draft right now?
Yes, I would take Lawrence probably as a backup to start. I would take Robinson. I would take Marvin Jones. I would take Chark. Take what's his name? Receiver with the funky name with the Jags. Chenault.
Oh,
Laviska Chenault.
Laviska Chenault. Yeah.
I would draft him as well.
What about you, Craig? Answer your own question.
That's definitely a hard one. I definitely am not drafting David Johnson.
Okay, but go beyond that. I'm just using that as a way to narrow down the focus of this conversation. Are there bad teams out there that you would still draft players from?
Yeah, I mean, as a backup, if they're there, possibly. If I needed a backup running back, and then I was looking at Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram were options, like I would consider it as like a fill-in, but not much though.
I'm gonna go. Here's where I'm gonna go with it. It's situational from year to year, but you can't ever say there is no bad team I'll draft. There's no bad team that I will 110% avoid every single year. Remember, Detroit's been bad for a century, and they still had Megatron. They still had Barry Sanders. That team was like 9-7 with Barry Sanders. That's how bad it was. Barry Sanders made them a 9 or 10 win team every year. That's how bad Detroit has been historically. 2 words, Rodney Pete. Okay, just there you go. So, yeah, I mean, I got to look at it. Cinch is right about there's a couple Jaguars who are worth it. Is there anybody worth it on the Texans? Probably not, in my opinion. But here's what I've learned over fantasy football in the years. By week 4, there is somebody on the Texans that everyone's going to try and pick up. Not somebody you're going to draft, but somebody you're going to try and pick up because somebody comes up. Cinch is waving at me. Cinch has a rebuttal.
So now, have you heard that since Deshaun Watson is being investigated by the FBI, NFL will not act in any way since he's under investigation. They will wait until that investigation is over. So that means that Watson will probably play the entire season before the commissioner hands down any kind of penalty.
Yeah.
So that being said, my question is, would anyone draft him?
No. Easy answer. Sean. Sean's shaking his head no.
I don't know, man. That's a slippery slope, though, because he could still put him on the exempt list, but
Sean, you're barely audible. Volume up.
barely audible.
You've switched mics.
So I'm trying here.
Well, let's go to Craig while Sean works out his audio problem, because Sean switched mics just now. I don't know why. It has something to do with the fact that he was like dancing on the ceiling, I'm sure. But Craig, is Deshaun Watson draftable?
I don't know about draftable. Waiver wire, yes.
I don't think he was draftable before this. He was so
maybe.
miserable.
And that's the problem with, like, so let's say down the road, let's say he gets cleared of this, right? Hypothetically, he plays, like, he still doesn't want to be there. He has no interest in being a Texan anymore. And, like, he clearly still wants to play, and I can't see him risking his future career on playing for a team that he doesn't want to be a part of.
Cinch.
He is only, I think, 25 or 26. He's a
I'll
young
look it up.
kid. I mean,
Yeah.
hypothetically, none of this is going on. He's on the worst team, I think, in the league. So, with his talent, he would lift that team, and they're going to win 4 games just because of him.
He is 25 today. He turns 26 in September. I'm looking really quickly at the league, and I'm trying to find a team I think is worse top to bottom than the Texans, and it's hard.
It's not the Jaguars?
No, I think the Jaguars got better this year. They're not good.
I don't know.
but
You look at those pictures of Urban Meyer, he looks really lost and confused.
Listen. Coaching helps, and coaching matters. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I've said it before in this podcast, and I will say it till the day I die. Barry Switzer has a Super Bowl ring. Never forget that. There are some teams that coaching just doesn't matter. They're going to be great. They're going to not be great. Now, granted, Switzer walked into a team that was fully developed.
Stacked.
Jimmy Johnson went to go do his hair, and when he came back, his job had been filled, and that was the end of that. Aikman was at his prime. Emmett was at his prime. Everybody was just on all cylinders. I get that. Urban Meyer, but a coach isn't going to cost you more than 1 or 2 wins. Urban Meyer, well, with the exception of when what's his name was in Washington, the old ball coach.
Yeah.
Courier.
Yeah. But aside from that, I'm not worried about Urban Meyer, and I'm not worried about the Jaguars. The Jaguars will be better. Last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars won a complete total of 1 game. They were the worst in the league in scoring with only 306 points. Do that math in your head. That's less than 20 points a game.
Also, they were tanking. They told
Yes.
Minshew they didn't want Minshew to play because he might accidentally win a game. So they pulled him. They were trying to be bad. They're going to be much better.
They did not win a single game on the road last year. Not one. Do you know how many teams went 0-8 in the road last year?
How many?
Exactly one. The Jacksonville Jaguars. There is no other. The 49ers have a road win. The Lions were 1-7 on the road last year. I know. I have it on the screen over here. You want to know who else won at least 1 game on the road last year? The Jets. Bloody hell. Somebody tell me who that was. Who the hell did the Jets play
Miami.
and they won a game away? It had to be Miami, right?
Arizona?
Us. It's not showing me. All right, I'll look it up. We're going to move on while I look that up. So, all right. So my question. I'm going to pose my question. I'm going to look up who the hell the Jets won on the road against. My question for you, because you guys have asked such amazing, serious questions so far. I asked this question of you guys last year, and I gave you choices. And this year, I'm leaving it wide open. The most important part of draft day is the snacks. What is the one snack you have to have on draft day? We'll start with Craig.
For me, it's a tie between wings and nachos. Only
You
because
can't tie. Pick
can't
one.
tie?
You can
All right,
only
all
have
right.
one.
Okay, so then in that case, because of where our draft has been the last several years, I'm going to say wings.
Okay. Cinch.
I have it. The Jets beat the Rams.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Wow. I would not
No
have
wonder
guessed
Jared
that.
Goff got traded.
As far as snacks, I don't care. I'm not a fussy
Oh, you
man.
have to care. No, this is
Give
not.
me
This
food
is
and
not.
I'll eat it.
Look at Sean's face right now. He is like, no, you cannot straddle the fence on this, sir. You have to pick a side. You're in a restaurant that's got a full range of small plate snacks, nachos, wings, chicken tenders, pot stickers, mozzarella sticks, the whole 9 yards. But you can only order one. What are you ordering?
I like the pub chips with the blue cheese dipping. That's what I like.
Oh, that's
All
a
right.
good call, too. I
That's a
hadn't
good
thought
choice.
of that. That's an interesting one. All right, let's go to the resident foodie, Sean. Sean, what's the one snack you got to have? And we'll wait for the 30-minute explanation while he narrows it down to a list of 3 and then tells us the one he chooses.
I'm a foodie. Can you guys hear me better now?
You're good.
No.
I can hear you. I
I
can
can
hear
hear you,
you. It
that's
means
all
you're
that
being
matters.
recorded, so we're good. You should be
You
good.
can hear me. All right. So, I am the resident foodie. It's definitely could be quesadillas,
I forgot about quesadillas.
taquitos.
Taquitos.
Yes, mozzarella sticks definitely up there.
Taquitos are up there.
But
Yeah.
but no bread because bread's filling.
Ah,
You got to skip the bread.
Well, you're all wrong. The correct answer is nachos. Everyone must have nachos when they draft. That is the correct answer. Thank you for playing our game. We have some Toblerone and a home copy of the game for you to take home with you.
I'm
The end.
trying to keep my hands clean.
What are you
Then
pouring
use a
there,
fork
Brett?
and knife. I'm actually pouring a second beer. This is the rare 2-beer episode. This is a can of liquid Courage
Oh, that
by
was
Two
good.
Roads.
That was good.
This was very good. This was done to support the Closer to Free ride. It's a collaboration to benefit Smilo Cancer Hospital and the Yale Cancer Center between Nebco and Two Roads. And I love the can art. You probably can't see it, but the two arms on here have the Two Roads logo as a tattoo and then the Nebco logo as a tattoo. Really kind of cool. So I'm supporting cancer patients while I enjoy a beer, and that's a good feeling to have. Cinch just showed another can. He's got a can of Sway by Fox Farm. How's the Sway compared to the Quiet Life?
Sway was like water. I just drank that right down and it was gone.
Wow.
It was gone before I knew it started.
So when are the four of us going to get in a car and just go up to Fox Farm one day? When's that going to happen?
Well, not now because I just had these 2 beers.
Tell me when.
The problem with Fox Farm Brewing is that it is literally in the middle of nowhere. So we brought those cans back. Really quick story before we move on. Brought those cans back after a trip to Mystic. I'm leaving Mystic, Connecticut, and I say, send me to Fox Farm Brewing. And Waze goes, okay, it's like 40 minutes. And I'm like, all right. We drive 5 minutes on the highway, and it goes, take the next exit. And I'm like, you told me it was 40 minutes away. Oh, it is. And then you drive through this nightmarish hellscape of like back roads. We passed a minimum of 4 farms and 6 farm supply companies. And then we turned down a dark road that had no lights. So at night it'd be a problem. Hi, Stephanie. And Sean's wife just walked in the background, so she can't hear me though. I just realized that. Anyway, she looked at the camera like, oh my God, am I on camera right now? Yeah, she was. If she listens to the podcast, she'll know. And then you turn down this dark, winding road, and if you don't look for the sign, you will miss it because the sign is like 2 feet by 2 feet, and it's behind a bush. Like it's the worst placed sign of all time. And I drive like 2 miles an hour down this road just so I make sure I don't miss it. But fantastic beer, great little place. So, all right, moving on.
So
Moving
also
on.
we said hi, Stephanie. So hi, Deb.
Thank you, Sean. Hi to Deb. Hi to Carmine too. I don't know if any. I know you guys check our Twitter pretty regularly, but Carmine, the gentleman who submitted the question a couple weeks ago, has been retweeting us like crazy. We have
Nice.
another.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that, Carmine. Carmine, if you want to get into a best ball league, DM us. Our DMs are open. We'll throw you a slot in the best ball league we're planning. It's not gonna be anything fancy. It's not gonna cost any money. Come join us. So, all right. Let's talk more draft stuff. This is like a very laid-back episode. I get it. We talked about how you prepare for a draft, and one of the things we talked about was mock drafts. I want to hear from our contributors. How many mock drafts do you actually do in preparation for your regular drafts? Are you mock draft guys? I know Craig is. Craig, you've probably done 20 mock drafts already.
You rough guess, yeah. Probably between like 15, 20. I know Sean
Okay.
Sean outweighs that number, so.
Sean looks like the cat who just ate the canary. Sean, how many mock drafts have you already done?
Way too many to count.
Take a guess how many you've done.
Estimate.
Over 100
Sean has done over 100 mock drafts.
For this season?
of this season. A lot of those were actually in preparation to help us with the Scott Fish Bowl. I did
Oh my
a
God,
lot
Scott-
of Fish Bowl.
I gave him credit when he wasn't on, but we got to call him out right now when he is on. Sean's input on the Scott Fishbowl draft was absolutely essential and really crucial to us getting some of the players that we got. He was tossing names out like 2 or 3 rounds. He's like, you need to watch in like the next 3 or 4 rounds. And he was tossing a name out like, who the frick is that? I don't know who the hell that is. So I had to look it up. And a lot of the guys we ended up with, I think, was it, but Craig tossed that one. Was it Amon St. Brown? Was that Craig or was that Sean? That was Sean.
That was
Sean tossed out
though
Amon St. Brown.
I drafted him in our keeper league.
after you heard from Sean.
Dynasty League.
Yeah. So, all right. So we know Sean does a million mock drafts. Craig does a few. Cinch, are you a mock draft person? Do you use mock drafts to prep?
I have done 0 mock drafts. 1 year, I did about 10. I got so angry that every time I did a mock draft, I got a good team. And then when I got to when it really counted, my friends that were my so-called friends that were in my leagues drafted guys that ruined everything. I didn't like my teams. So I said, the hell with the mock drafts. I'm done.
And that comes to the point you made earlier with listening to experts versus not listening. Everybody who does a mock draft thinks they're an expert. I tell the story every year, so I'll tell it this year. I was sitting in 2 roads, and I did a best ball draft just as a prep. I prefer to do best ball over mock drafts just because I feel like mock drafts is real easy to go, hey, look, I'm going to fuck with all these guys and take Amon St. Brown in the second round. Watch. Those guys exist. They're out there. But best ball, even if it's just a small amount of money, $2 or $3 or $5, those guys actually tend to do things a little bit more. You got to dismiss the idiots. I always tell this story. Sitting in 2 roads, I'm doing a best ball draft. Pick 1, 2, second pick overall. This dude took Deshaun Watson 2 years ago and then started going off in the chat about how he was going to kick everybody's ass because Deshaun Watson was the best player in the league.
Oh my God,
et cetera,
remember that?
et cetera. Oh my God, Craig was there. I just remember looking at Craig going, this guy is on crack, right? He just took Deshaun Watson, not even a quarterback. He took Deshaun Watson with the second pick of a draft in the best ball and basically told all of us he just won the league. By the way, we won that league. We won like $20 because it was a $1 entry or something like that, or $2 entry. We won like $20, and that guy finished 8th because that was the year Deshaun Watson hurt his knee. So mock drafts, to Cinch's point, take them with a grain of salt. You have to take them in small sample size, and you can't overly think about it. Sean has his hand in the air, and I'm shocked because we're talking about his favorite thing next to food, mock draft. Sean, what do you got?
Just the one thing I have to tell everyone about. I always like to do the mock drafts with people. Doing it against the computer, you're basically, it changes it up a little bit with variants, but they always close to the ADP. I don't really like that all that much. So I like doing it with people because they do throw curveballs every once in a while, like Deshaun Watson in the second pick.
Second pick.
But,
oh my God.
But then also don't pay attention to that draft grade at the end because they always give you a grade. And just because you get a B- or a whatever, it's because you want to see where people are going. It's not because you want to get a best grade, because if you just draft the best person at ADP, you'll get the best grade. That's not the point.
Right.
So don't do it that way.
All right. I totally get that, and I'm with him on that. So, okay, I just lost my screen somehow. Where'd you all go?
Uh-oh.
There you go. Okay.
I still hear you.
So
I'm here.
for the newer players, I want to ask all of you a different question. What's the site you like to use best? What site does the best job with fantasy football in general for you? So, like, let's just say, hypothetically, you're sitting at home on a Friday night and you got nothing better to do, which is an absolute lie because all of us are married. Half of us have kids. But just to imagine living a life where you have nothing better to do on a Friday night but register for a league and do a draft. What site are you going to? I want to start with Sean on this. What site is the one you're like, you know what? I just want to join a random league. Here's where I'm going.
I am going to Draft Wizard, Fantasy Pros. I just love their rankings and stuff like that. And
I'm talking real leagues, not a mock.
Oh, real leagues.
Real league. You just want to join a random league and just do an additional league. What site do you like for that random league?
I usually go with DraftKings.
For season long.
Well, best ball.
Best ball. Okay.
That's where I'm at. For regular leagues, I probably wait and do a Yahoo league.
Okay. Cinch, what's the site you like use best?
Well, I'll say this. Last season, we used Fantrax. A fucking disaster. So, anything but Fantrax. I've used NFL Network. I've used CBS. Had problems with ESPN, but I understand a lot of people like it. I don't. I enjoy NFL Network. When you draft, they have the ringing of the bell and the commissioner saying that you're on the clock. Little things like that make it good.
Oh my God, the Fantrax thing. So last year we put together a Dynasty League really quick. Cinch put together a Dynasty League. And he was like, what kind of sites do Dynasty? And Craig was like, Fantrax does Dynasty, but I haven't really used them. And Cinch was like, fine, let's give him a try. And it just went so badly. So,
It was bad. It was.
Craig, and it was
we went a full week and a half without knowing who won the previous week's
Oh
game.
yeah, because they screwed up
true.
the scoring.
No, that wasn't on us. Remember, they had the data breach. They couldn't download data from the NFL.
That was a couple sites, though, wasn't it?
It was, but
was.
Fantrax was the last to recover. Like, everybody else had recovered, and Fantrax was still like, we're waiting for a call. Just stand by. They'll get to us in a minute or two. And I'm sitting there like, I could be 0-3 or 3-0. I have no freaking clue. So, Craig, who do you like?
So I like using. I'm okay. I'm all right with Yahoo, even though they do snake drafts. I'm not a fan of snake drafts.
Oh my God, here we go.
CBS is okay because we've used it for so long, but like Cinch, I really do enjoy NFL's fantasy site / app. It's very. They've improved it over the years, and it's very user friendly, and it's pretty straightforward. So if I'm looking to join like a quick league, I look there first.
For me, the answer is Sleeper. I've really started to really use the Sleeper app a little bit more, and I really kind of enjoy it. But I kind of agree with all of you. I've never used NFL.com. Maybe I'll roll a random league on NFL.com this year just to get the experience with it. So, all right, we'll see how that goes. All right, a couple more quick questions and final thoughts. I want to go around the horn right now. This is a question I did not prep with any of you, so it's off the top of your head. If you were talking to a guy who was getting to fantasy football for the first time, what's the one piece of advice you would give him about getting into fantasy football? And we're going to start with Craig.
So they've never
drafted a team in their life. What's the one thing you're going to tell them other than don't go to Fantrax? Craig, what do you got?
Wow. There's so many things to tell people.
Craig passes and we'll come back to him.
Yeah,
We're going to Cinch.
go back. Come back to me.
Okay, the first thing I would tell someone, you're a fan of a team. You have a favorite team. Because you have a favorite team does not mean you want to draft the quarterback, the two receivers, the running back, and the tight end of that team. Because you're going to shoot yourself in the foot.
That's good. That's good.
Pick one target and maybe a quarterback, and that's it. And don't draft anyone else from your team.
Okay. Craig, back to you. That's a great answer.
That's a good answer. For me, I think I would tell them to pay attention to running back first because that's where everyone is going to go. So I would advise that that's the position to consider drafting first.
Okay. Sean, give the newbie players one piece of advice.
Know your league. Know what your league scoring system is. You need to know this in order to draft the right way. You can draft running back first. Yeah, that's fine. If you're in a super flex or a 2 QB league, you might not want to do that. You might want to draft a quarterback first. So just know your league, know your scoring system, and then base it off of that. And definitely if you're a new player, do mock drafts because you want to see, based on your scoring system, because you want to see what the trends are.
For me, the answer is don't panic. People have a tendency to overreact early on. And that's where you get the buy low, sell high mentality. So that one wide receiver who in week 1 has 8 catches for 136 yards and a touchdown, you don't immediately go out and sell half your team to get him. But if you have him, by all means, sell him for 6 other people. Don't overreact. Sean.
One more piece of advice. Be able to pivot in your draft. Don't focus on one person. have the tiers of players that you like. Because most likely that one player that you like is gonna be sniped right before you. So
Yeah.
make sure you can pivot.
Oh
to
my
something
God.
else.
The slowest drafter in the history of the world just told people to be prepared. If you've never drafted with Sean, you don't know this, but it's like hitting a brick wall on the Autobahn. That was somebody else's words, not mine. Cinch, what do you got?
Another thing I was thinking of, I've been in leagues with new people who think it's wise to draft 4 or 5 quarterbacks, and then
Oh my
someone
God,
will
yeah.
come to them for a trade, and that's just not how it works. Draft
Nope,
your
'cause
2,
there's 32 starting quarterbacks. So, like,
You're in
and
a
no
one
one is coming
quarterback
to
league.
you.
You're in a one
Great.
quarterback league, definitely not.
Agreed. So now, conversely, last question before we get to final thoughts. I want you each to give so I didn't give mine. The best advice I can give for new fantasy players is to listen to the Football Fignuts podcast on a daily basis.
this is true.
Listen to it. 201 episodes. Go back 4 years and listen to us talk about Peyton Manning going to Denver. Do it, damn it. Just go and do it. Don't ask questions. Do it now. So final question. I want each of you to give me one piece of advice for seasoned players. So these guys, everyone on this call has a minimum of 20 years of fantasy football experience. Minimum. We're about to hit 30 years in that, and Cinch is holding up the number 4. So he either just joined the 4 Horsemen and is about to go do a tag team match with Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, or he is indicating he's up to 40 years of experience. He's frozen on my screen. I'm pretty sure he's flipping me off, but he's frozen on my screen. Okay. So what's the one piece of experience you want to give, one piece of advice you want to give to experienced players? And we're going to start with the 4 Horsemen there, man, over there with Cinch.
I was going to say, me last, because my advice goes into my final thought for the day.
That's fine. So he's going to take a 20. He's going to take a 20-second timeout, and we'll go to Craig. I love that. We'll just take the 20. Craig, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to experienced players this year?
So just so everyone, because everyone else had a second beer, my second beer is Obituary by Northway Brewing. But
It's a Northway Brewing kind of thing.
it is. Mine being experienced players is just to calm down. Like, if we've all had players that we've really wanted to draft, and then someone before you drafts them, don't let it ruin your draft. Like, you can be annoyed, but don't let it ruin your entire draft, because
You mean like when Sean sits there and says he's never going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round and then does it, and I throw a chair?
no, but you still drafted a pretty good team.
Yeah, Cam. I turned the camera off because I was done.
Drafted a better team than I did.
See?
That was a bad pick.
It was a good pick. You just should have traded him to me when you had the chance. That's the thing. Bad picks are guys that never produce anything. By week 4, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was like in the top 10. You should have moved him. Anyway, go on, Craig. Sorry.
Yeah. So I would just say, don't let it ruin your draft day.
Don't tilt.
That's right.
Don't tilt. Sean, experienced players, tell them one thing they need to know.
Well, I hope they don't need to know these things, but that's a good one with Craig with the don't get upset with somebody. I mean, obviously that's why you draft, why you do the team. Know what you're, not only but where would you say, say you have this list of, running backs that you love, okay? But there's a tier where you say, okay, these running backs have to go before I draft this wide receiver. So you'd have to not only have it in the tiers of your position, but knowing where you would pivot to the other position.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that's fair. For me, and it kind of goes off of where Sean was just going. Have a plan, but be flexible. I think that's what Sean was just trying to say. I said it in fewer words.
Yes.
Have a plan, but be flexible. I'll never forget the year I walked into the draft. And for the guys on this call, this was one of the years we did it at the Bluefish. It was the
Okay.
year that Craig and Mario got really sick because they ate like 15 hot dogs because we got the all-you-could-eat buffet, and they just thought they could keep eating hot dogs until they died. That year, I picked number 7. And I just remember saying to myself, here's 6 guys I want. I want one of these 6. All 6 of those guys went in the top 6 picks. So here I am at 7, and I ended up drafting Ryan Matthews. That's how old we all are and how long we've been doing this. And yeah, Sean just made a face like, oh my God, cringeworthy. It was. It really was that cringeworthy. Don't have a plan, but don't be glued to it. Don't be rigid. You have to be flexible when you draft. You have to react to how other people draft around you, and that's how you can be successful. Gentlemen, I am out of beer, and we are
Sad.
out of time.
Sad.
It's sad. Every week, Craig says that's sad. Every
It's
week.
so quick. So quick.
We've been on for almost an hour.
Oh
Almost
my
an
God.
hour. Yeah.
We could go on. Let's go on.
We seriously could go for like another hour or two easy with this, but we all have jobs to do in the morning, so let's move on to final thoughts. Let's start with our friend Cinch. Cinch, what's your final thought for folks on draft season /strategy/prep?
Okay, my final thought. So if you're listening to this, I'm thinking that you're a veteran. You've been doing this for a while, and you want insight. Here's my insight. Everyone is an expert. No one is an expert. These experts that you listen to, you print out these sheets, they don't know anything more than you do. So they just spend more time doing it. So put in more time. Don't just print out a sheet and say, okay, these guys are gone, so I take that guy. Also, when you do print out your cheat sheet, look ahead maybe 20 picks before you make your pick. Because there might be a guy 12 picks away from where you're picking. You see the experts say this guy is the 60th player, but you might think, I want him more than any of these guys ahead of him. So don't just blindly follow what the experts say. Do your printout, but know what you're talking about. Spend an hour, spend 2 hours. If you love this, that time flies by.
That's a great final thought. Let's go to Sean. Sean, final thought.
Have fun on your draft. You're there with your friends. You're there with your friends. You're having a good time, and you've done your preparation. You know what you're doing. What Cinch just said. Have your tears, have your readiness, and just have fun with it. You might not get the guy that you wanted in that particular spot. Pivot and have a great time. That's the best thing I can say. In the end, it's all about fun.
You son of a bitch. That was absolutely my final thought. Was don't overthink and have a good time. And you killed it. You just stole it out from underneath me. You jerks. And we gotta go to Craig while I think of something better. Craig, what do you got?
So a couple random things. Ryan Matthews is 33 years old.
And selling real estate in
Yeah,
Arizona.
he doesn't play anymore. Second is I don't think the word pivot has ever been used more in this podcast in 5 years.
We need a word cloud for this one.
And if you don't think about the Friends episode, pivot, then you're too young.
That's true. Yeah, my final thought is I don't want to repeat what everyone else said, but added to that, just if you don't like quote unquote experts lists, just make your own list and just go with it and see what happens and just let the draft come to you.
And that's the thing I just came up with as I'm listening to Craig. Let the draft come to you was plan B. So, you know what my final thought is?
Running back. Oh.
Yeah, running back. Your first 4 picks are all running backs. The only time you don't take a running back in the first 4 picks if you take Blake Bortles. That's it. So you go running back, Blake Bortles, running back. That's what you do. My final thought is don't forget, guys, we're here, and when I say guys, I mean to our listeners, not to the three of you. We're here all year long. We're not going anywhere. Our contributor pool is happy to help you with stuff, start sit decisions, add drop decisions. Reach out to us when you feel like it. Start thinking about DFS. The moment your season long is over, it's time to start thinking DFS. Like literally at 8:27 p.m., you finish a draft, DFS season starts at 8:28. That's the way you got to look at it. We will be here for all of those things. Please reach out to us. Don't hesitate to ask. Along those lines, well, how the hell do I reach out to you? Well, I'm going to tell you. We are at Fignuts DFS on Twitter. We are fignutsdfs@gmail.com. We have a website, fignutsdfs.com. What am I forgetting? Twitter. Oh, Facebook. We are the Football Fignuts Podcast on Facebook. Reach out to us. We love to hear from people. We heard from Carmine a couple weeks ago. I can't shut up about it. I love talking about this guy. He was just the nicest guy. He was like, oh my God, I'm so happy for your advice. Thank you, Carmine. And thank you for listening. Don't hesitate. DFS is starting. Enjoy draft season like Sean said. Make sure that you keep your own counsel like Cinch said. And I already forgot what Craig said. But Craig made a great point too, and I don't remember what it is. What was your final thought about?
I said let the draft come to you.
Which she steals from me because I say that every year. But so that's fine. You know what? The other thing you should do, in addition to all those things, is you should leave us a review. Wherever you listen to us, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher FM, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Spotify, wherever you pick up this podcast. We're in Canada. I got an email this week from Chartable telling me that Audacity, is that where you listen to us? Since just holding up something called Audacity. Anyway, we got an email this week from Chartable telling us we are on the top 200 podcasts in Canada. And I'm like, there's Canadians who listen to us? Okay, great. I'm half Canadian, so that's fantastic to me. I love to hear that. My wife actually did our genealogy and found out that one of my ancestors blew themselves up at the Battle of Montreal, but that's a story for another time.
At least he tried.
He did. He was trying. He just blew himself up in the process.
If we get enough Canadian listeners, Britt, we could do a curling podcast.
That don't go there. That idea has already been floated and discussed. We're not going to go there. There's other people already working on that, actually, believe it or not. So anyway, leave us a review. We are happy to hear from you. We are happy to hear any questions you may have for us. We are really happy to incorporate you into our podcast. Gentlemen, this is the end of our Roundtable series. I really appreciate all of you taking time. Like I said, this is an unpaid gig that these guys take time out of their personal lives to go do. So thank you to the Cinch. Thank you to Sean. Thank you, as always, to Craig. Don't forget to leave us a review wherever you listen to us. Next week, I'm taking the week off. Do you know why? Because Sean and I are going drinking and drafting. We have a draft for our work league, and that's going to require us to be off the air. So I believe the Cinch and Craig will be here to answer all your questions and get you set up for the season and late draft season. But until then, we appreciate all you have done. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We are excited to bring Season 5 to you. Until next week, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And for Cinch and Sean, we are the Fignuts Football Podcast.